gonna log in on my phone too. Make sure y'all have people jump on and share this. And we are live. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Fellas,
Yo,
what's
yo.
going on?
What's
What
going
up,
on?
bro?
How you doing?
Good, man. Good. I'm glad that we all were able to get on, man. It's been difficult to, I'm saying get everybody at the same page, but I thank y'all first and foremost for taking time out of your evenings, man. I know each of you have a family, loved ones, some of you kids, and the fact that you're taking time out to jump on this is huge, because it's going to mean a lot to so many people, especially our young Black boys, man, which is huge. I'm glad that we all share that passion to pour into them. So I think that's huge. So real quick before we jump into it, I'm gonna have you guys introduce yourself. So I'll just pick who's gonna go. We'll start with Christian. Go ahead and just let everybody know who you
Sure.
are.
Perfect. What's going on, everyone? My name is Christian Ragland. I'm currently 31 years old. Before I say anything else, I have to wish my wife a happy fifth wedding anniversary. It's our wedding anniversary today. So that's one way to sustain a good Black man. Is remember those dates. But yeah, I'm just grateful to be a part of the conversation. Um, I believe in what Nate is doing. I believe in all these brothers, and I know all these brothers personally. So I'm just grateful to be a part.
Nice, nice. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Mike.
My name is Mike Forrest. Since we giving out ages, okay. I'm 39. I'm almost hitting that 40. Um, like Christian said, man, I'm just happy to be a part of this whole thing, man. This is amazing. Nate, I thank you for just thinking of me, because even though we've just met recently, but the connection was so real, and we already done things in the community together already. So the connection is so real. I appreciate it, man. So just being on this ride and being able to reach out to young men is my passion, and that's what I believe I was born for. So this whole thing is just coming together. So I appreciate it, bro.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, man. It's interesting because I had reached out to Mike a minute ago. And I kind of went about it like the wrong way. I was like, I want to come in and talk to your men, because the dean of ACCC had told me about you. And I was like, I
Yeah,
want to come talk to your young men. He's like, I mean, you like paid for it? Like, what you want to do? Like, never connected. And then randomly we connected one day at AT&T. And it's like,
yeah.
yo, hold on. Well, we like switched names. Like, oh, you such and such. Yo, word. All right, cool. So it's
That was
amazing how
dope.
God works.
Yes, sir.
Tone, my dude, Tone.
My name is Tony Chapman. First and foremost, Nate, I want to thank you for letting me be a part of this project. Just like Christian and Mike said before, this is what we all have a passion at doing. I'm pretty sure all of us work at some kind of aspect with our young men. But I'm 32. Am I 32? See, Christian, I'm messing up already. I don't even remember my own
Are
birthday,
you?
let alone our anniversary.
Wow.
Listen,
I'll be 32
it's
this year.
money.
I'm 31. I'm 31. But yeah, I'm grateful to be a part of this program, this project, and looking forward to working with all y'all in the future.
Nice.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. My man Ruben, what's up?
What's going on? Yeah, my name is Ruben Stewart the third. Like I said, like the other fellow said before me, I want to thank you for sharing your vision with me and allowing me to be a part of it. Mentoring is all of our passions, and I'm glad to see them some heavy hitters in the room to the right of my screen anyway. Mike Forrest and Mr. Darrell Edmonds over here. I'm trying to follow in those footsteps as well as most of us are. But yeah,
Word.
I'm a father, I'm a mentor, a husband, and I'm just trying to do my part.
Beautiful.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. And my man Darrell, what don't you do?
What's going on? Glad to be in here tonight, man. I'll start. I ain't giving my age, man, because I had an experience recently that made me feel every bit of my age. So I ain't changing right now. But I'm a husband. I'm a father of 3 girls, and I'm a mentor. So that's just what I do. That's what I've been put here for, and I've been blessed to start an organization called Fridays Tide, where we mentor young men from Gloucester County all the way through Atlantic County, high school and middle school age. And even my paid job now aligns with what I do in mentoring. I have the opportunity to mentor close to 300 students that have a scholarship to college in the region
Wow.
from New York down to Delaware. So it's just an amazing experience, you know, just to be able to sow into people's lives. And I'll be the first to say it probably blesses me more than it does them. But it's a privilege to be on here tonight to talk with you young men.
Appreciate all y'all young men.
Nice, man. Look, I appreciate
The OG has spoken.
I appreciate each and every one of them, right? And this is only some of the word, right? He laid it on us, right? This is only some of the guys right now that are a part of this project, a part of this. I call it a movement because it's not just a book. It's a movement, man, and it was placed on my heart. This thing we're working on called "I Love You," which when you even say it to another guy, it feels weird. You know what I'm saying? Because of just the stereotypes of who we are. But for me, it was placed on my heart. Last year, I went to a mental health conference, me and my fiance, for Taraji P. Henson. She has a foundation called the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation. And it blew my mind, right? I'm there with a bunch of mental health professionals. I'm there with therapists, psychologists. I sat next to a brain surgeon that was like 32, Black woman. I was mind blown. But what happened, I went to a session, right? They had it broken up in sessions. And the very first session I went to called Man Up, Real Talk About Mental Health in Men. And they started to drop these statistics and these different about our young Black boys committing suicide at like alarming rates. Stuff I never even known, right? And it blew my mind that the statistics were so high, and it was at twice the amount of their counterparts, which was young white boys. And I was wondering, like, man, what is going on? Why is nobody talking about this? And I started to think, like, what is the missing link? Like, why is this happening? Why aren't we feeling validated and different things like that? And I realized that a lot of those Black boys, they just didn't feel loved. They didn't feel heard. You know, that they felt unworthy. Nobody really spoke life into them. It was already a perception of who they were. You know what I'm saying? It was already a negative stigma put on them. And when I left that, I experienced a few other things. I started to study and I started to write research on this. And I went deep into it and I found out that this was a real issue that nobody was talking about. Like it blew my mind, the numbers that I was seeing even up to this date. You know, I was dealing with a young man just the end of last year who had brought a knife to school. And I may have told some of you this story on this stream, but he brought a knife to school and they suspended him. You know, they suspended him. And long story short, he was being bullied at the school. But no one even thought to think about that or thought to ask him what was going on. They automatically assumed he was the problem child. You know what I'm saying? They automatically assumed that he was the aggressor. But I come to find out he couldn't tell his parents. They weren't trying to hear him. They were pushing him off to the side. His dad wasn't in his life. His teachers already wrote him off and labeled him as a bad kid for bringing the knife. And he told me that he was just scared. He didn't feel like he had nowhere else to go. He brought a butter knife to school. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even go for nothing sharp to try to get busy. He just brought something out of fear. And I'm like, man, what happens, you know, when you don't feel validated, when you don't feel like you're being heard, when you get to a point where you're being bullied and you can't even tell anybody because they won't even believe you. And now you have to go out and be the tough guy. You know what I'm saying? So that sparked me to not even sparked me, but I feel like God placed it on my heart. Just the phrase "I love you," and then He was like, "Use your gift in writing." And at first, I was like, I thought that this was for me to write the whole book. And I'm sitting there writing stuff. I'm writing the love letters and stuff. I'm like, nah, there has to be more to this because my background, my story is only my story and my background. There's so many other Black men that are doing amazing things, that are striving and doing amazing things in life, that have come from different backgrounds. And I can't assume that every Black boy is going through the situations that I went through when I grew up. But if I can get a collective of Black men, we can start helping them a lot more by sharing our stories and sharing our testimony. So that was really how this thing was birthed, man. I prayed ahead, and just one by one, God was like, I won. It was one by one, and I was like, man, thank you. And I'm blessed to have, you know, just such solid brothers to talk with and fellowship with. So let's just jump right into it, man. Let's jump right into it. And anybody can answer this. Why is the word, I would say, love so taboo amongst like men, especially Black men? Like, why is that so difficult to say to each other?
I can probably start it off.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I feel as though it's like that nowadays because I think it has to start in the home and have to be taught and has to be shown. You know, like for me, my sons, I have two sons, and I tell my sons I love them all the time. And you know, for a lot of young men that I've dealt with and that I deal with today, they've never had anyone to actually tell them that, especially a male. You know, they have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
females that tell them that, aunts, mom, you know, but they never had like a positive
Exactly.
male role model. And most of them not even have a father in the home to actually say, yo, I love you, man. You know, I love you. I love you. You know, and to the point where it's not like a corny thing. It's like, yo, for real. Like, I really love you. So I think it starts in the home. And if it's not taught, and if there's not enough men actually saying it, because once you do say it, I mean, I caught the first time I've said it to a couple of young men, it's kind of weird to them. They like, what you mean you love me? You know what I'm saying? Like, how you don't even know me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm,
well, I don't have to know you
mm,
to have love for you and care about you and want you to be
Mm-hmm.
great. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's something that has to be taught.
mm,
I think it's something that it's an atmosphere that we have to make more comfortable for young men. You know what I'm saying? And for us to just say it more. You know what I mean? Like when you're around a young man and you say something to him, just be like, "Yo, I love you, man," and just see their response, and then we can just feed off that. But to just try to keep it short. I think it's something that has
mm,
to be taught in the home, and not even in the home. Just every time you make a connection, it should be something that can be taught so they can feel more comfortable about it.
Mhm. I think that at the root of it is also how we view masculinity,
mm.
right? How we view manhood, and it's generational. Uh,
Hmm.
I remember at one point I run a fatherhood group at one of the local schools I'm doing for the past 6 years, and one of the lessons was about showing affection to your children. So we were in a discussion with some of the fathers about, it's a dad's group, so we were talking about how much affection we show to our girls, and it's not quite the same with boys. So then in the middle of the conversation, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, yo, when's the last time I hugged my dad? When's the last time? And I'm playing this over my head. So when I got home,
Mm,
I'm sitting, I tell this to my wife. I'm like, yo, I can't remember this day. So I track it back to like senior year of high school, right? So we were going back 20 years, you know what I mean? And I want to preface this by saying, like, my dad was an amazing man. I never felt any lack. I knew he loved me. He was consistent. He was in our lives. He loved my mother. He loved all his children. So I didn't have that lack there. But as far as how we deal with love and affection towards other males, it has to do with how we teach about masculinity. So I realized at that point I hadn't hugged my dad since
mm,
like my last football game senior year of high school. So that day, my wife
mm.
drive over there. She made me hug him. I lost my dad about 2 months later from that. He passed like 2 months from right around that time. But I had hugged him every time I saw him since we had that conversation. So it's about how we discuss masculinity, how we
Mm-hmm.
deal with the messages that we give young men about love and affection, and and how we help to shape that
Mhm.
offering.
Hey, can I say something to the piggyback off of Darrell and Mike? Um, what they both said is powerful,
Oh
and I
yeah.
think,
Oh yeah.
and what I want to. So Mike said it has to be taught, and then Darrell said it addresses the masculinity. So my father, he hugged us every night. He kissed us on our forehead. Me and Darrell joke about this because we grew up in the same city. We had the kind of like the same life. I just didn't get the height. Um, but we have that in common. But when I became a father, I began to really address why men don't say I love you. So I was thinking back historically, think about in slavery, they took the man away from
That's
his
where I was gonna go
family.
with it.
They took the man away from his family. They wanted to destroy that bond between him as the role of a father, a husband to his family. And so when we finally got freedom, if you want to call it that, the man was spending time trying to rebuild himself up as a man, and they didn't even address the love piece yet. So we are like probably the first generation that's saying that has some disposable time to say, all right, we need to really address what's happening in our community because you're right. We don't talk about this enough, and I don't think, every time I'm home with my family and my girls, I always, have those moments of solace where I say, you know what, 400 years ago, it could have been me that they were taken from my family to never be seen again. So I'm grateful that I can say I love you to my family, to my father, to the young men that I'm mentoring. I don't take it for granted. So I think to what Mike and Darrell said. We got to teach people our history so they know why we need to say I love you. It's not just having a masculinity talk. We need to say I love you because we have many
come on,
people
man.
who died who wish they could say I love you one last time. So that's just, I love what Mike and Darrell said, because they, as the OGs of this, they are telling us we need to get back to teaching people. I didn't mean that about your age.
I'm about to say,
I'm
hold
just
on.
saying,
Yeah,
no,
I
you
can
guys,
jump in.
we stand on your shoulders.
Yeah, I was gonna piggyback off of, feed into what they said as well. We got to a point where it became a defense mechanism for our young men. I know growing up, showing any type of feeling was a bad thing. Growing up in the inner city, you had to be tough. It's like you skinned your knee, you had to wait till you got home to cry. It was like, so we got to break down that and get
That shower felt different.
exactly. We got to get we got to get back to a
Facts.
place where it's
Facts.
okay for our young men to feel, because they're so hard now. I have a mentor group that I just started last year, 8 to 12-year-old boys, and it's like they're 8 to 12, but at the mental state they're 8 to 12, but the knowledge and the things that they know and how they act, they're like 15 to 16 at 12 years old, and just trying to break through that, it's like it's difficult. So we just have to get back to the point where we're like, that's why I'm glad we're having this type of talk. It's like that safe place where men can say I love you and not be looked at like taboo. Like, no, I love you because you're my brother and I love what you're doing out here in the community, and I follow your example. So
yeah. And for me, I'll just add on to the to the end of it. I was going to take it to the whole Christian, how he broke it down, because when you look at it, like he said, in history, we were traditionally just taken away. We were traditionally told, and then like as that time, like you said, we gained our freedom. All we knew was we got to work, we got to provide, we got to put the food back on the table. So, and as black men in the society, we are looked at as a form of power, a form of aggression, a form of everything but soft. And as we grew up, the 90s came, and then the baby boomers, and then everything just came around where the black man is just, his symbolism is power. It's just, he's got to be strong, he got to be tough, he got to be this, he got to be that. And then our women counterparts took on to that for their kids. It's like, hey, you got to be tough if your dad's not here, or you have to be tough because we're just at a point where you got to be the man of the house. Like we were just put into positions that, as so young, we had to be so old at the same time, and we never developed that I love you. Like, even some black moms don't even say that to their sons, because a man is supposed to be strong, powerful, and he's supposed to just be fearless, where a lot of us are fearless. Just to give a backdrop on me, I grew up in a very Southern household. My father was a Navy SEAL. He was just very, very Southern, and he was very, very stern. And it was never I love you. It was never. The only love he would say was, I'm doing this because this is what a father's supposed to do, or I'm doing this not because I hate you, because I love you. But that was the only kind of love I got. It was never that. But as I got older with my brothers, and Nate could attest to this, me and Nate grew up together. Probably about 5 years ago, I started telling my brothers I love them every conversation. I leave the house, I love y'all, I love y'all. And my father started to pick up on that. My father lives in Virginia now. He's a little older. But even now, he tells me on the phone, I love you. I'm sorry I never got to say it earlier because we had this conversation. So, and I would just talk to be tough. Like, when it comes to my children, like Christian, you were saying, like, that's something I want to embrace, and I want to tell my sons, my daughters, I love you every night, kiss you on the forehead, boom. And it's okay to be that way. It's not taboo, and it's not a problem. And with me being a high school coach, I try to teach that to these kids that are coming in this generation after me, because some of them are very emotional, but they just are so afraid to be emotional because they just see either they didn't grow up with a dad and they're the first generation of learning how to take care of people, or we're just at a point now where they are starting to they're more emotionally bound than I guess you could say all of us in this group have been. They understand what emotions are. We didn't understand what emotions were when we was growing up. It was just like, oh, I scrape my knee, like you said, I'll go home and cry. I can't cry in front of my boys because now I'm the sucker of the group. So, but I just wanted to piggyback off of that.
Definitely appreciate you sharing that. It's one of those things where you want to fit in so bad that you won't do the thing that's not common that everybody else is doing, and that's a big issue too, trying to fit in so bad, man. Because the reality is with our young boys, what they don't understand, and this is honestly, I didn't understand it at first, is once you get done high school, there's only gonna be a select few number of people who you still keep in contact with. And that's just the reality, man. So if they can grow out of that phase and understand that it's going to be more to life, then they can actually grow and move forward. You know what I'm saying? But real quick, I want to ask some more questions before I start switching dudes out. I had to switch my location, as you can see. For some reason, my internet was tripping, so I'm actually in my my dining space. So, hey, man, look, we gotta make it happen. But the next thing, right? I want to ask you, when was the last time you asked another man or someone else asked you, how are you feeling? And they waited, for that response, like really ask you, because we're so used to saying like, yo, what's good? What's good? And that's that, right? When was the last time somebody actually asked you and waited to hear that response? Or when was the last time you've done that to somebody else? I know that I'm more aware to do it now because I understand, the effect that it can have. But when was the last time? Because again, we usually just go right into, yo, what's good, bro? That's it.
I'll start.
Yo, you good? Yeah, I'm good.
I'll start it
It's like
off.
I feel like I'm good is like a cop. Go
I'll
ahead.
start it off. But for me, Nate, this is a conversation we have on a regular. We always pluck each other's brain mentally, how we feel mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But outside of you, that's a conversation that a lot of me and my circles like have a lot, because we have a group that's pretty much 24 to 30. I'm the oldest one of the group, so I guess you could say 31. But that's one of the things, like recently, probably within the last 2 years, we have really connected. Like, how you feeling mentally, how you feeling emotionally. Like, we have all going through life things now. So I would say like that's almost an everyday conversation for me.
Yeah, I would say that a few weeks ago, I went past my dad's house to check on him, and he asked me. But before then, it was probably a long time. And me personally asking someone else, I usually take the what's good approach, or how's everything going, that type of thing. How you feeling? I never really said that too much. I asked my son actually like a few months ago, but that was pretty much it. I asked the kids, but as far as asking another man, not too much.
I would say it's often for me.
What
Um,
about the rest of y'all?
it's a couple. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a couple guys that I go to church with.
Yeah.
It's a couple brothers that's real close to me. We always check on each other all the time. So it's not something that's not common. It's something that's really common in my life, which I'm blessed to have. Because like Nate said, it's something is really not. We really don't check on each other as much as we should, because I think nowadays we have really mastered how to look like we doing all right and how to act like we doing great, when really we having some issues. You know what I'm saying? So and I remember talking with Nate not too long ago, having like a accountability partner, just somebody that you can kick it with, just to hold you accountable, you know what I'm saying, and just to continue to make those connections. So it's common for me. I will say that it's probably more people that I should reach out to. I do have a male retention program that I run at Atlantic Cape Community College, and I'm always asking those guys how they're doing, checking in on those guys. So it's something that's common, and it's something that I'm going to, try to reach out and grow in, to make sure I reach out to more people. Now that I'm connected with you guys, like me and Darrell talk a lot. We've have been for years. But Christian, Nate, and Tone, like you guys are like, kind of like new to this circle. So I'll be reaching out to you guys more often. I'm about to do that. And Ruben's been rolling with me for a minute when it comes to the mentor programs and stuff that we've been doing together. So, but I'll definitely be trying to reach out more and do it. But it's something that's common.
Yeah, same here. I think
I appreciate that.
I was gonna say it's common for me, but it's common because I had a good example.
Mm-hmm.
Back to fatherhood, and I always say to my wife in the morning, I said I always remind myself to check my privilege, because I recognize that my perspective is going to be a little bit different from somebody else's perspective, and it's not my job to railroad somebody's perspective because I feel like I have a better perspective. And so with that being said, I realized, like, in my college group chats, in my high school group chats, or just my regular, like you brothers, when we talk, I have to recognize my role. Is my job to be the anchor, or is my job to be the person needing help, right? And so I recognize, um, through wisdom, when I need to check on my guys, right? And then I recognize when I need somebody to check on me. And sometimes I may need to reach out to Darrell and ask him some questions. And I may not come and say, yo, Darrell, I'm having a rough day. I may just kind of pick his brain about some things to get my mind going. So I think, for me, it's common, but I've learned how to strategically know what my role is in my groups. If it's me needing help or if it's me checking on my guys, right? Especially now that I'm married and, I got some friends that are towing that line. They don't know if they want to get married or not. So, I'm always trying to, give them some good sound wisdom so they make the best decision. So I think it's knowing strategically what your role is in that time being or in that group chat or whatever the case may be.
For me, I would say it's common. Of course, in the role as a mentor, I'm doing it all.
I appreciate that.
I can think of two young men yesterday that I reached out to, and another one the day before, just for specific reasons. It's common that I think it's not as common that someone necessarily asks me that question, but wise enough to know that I'll be like, "Hey, yo, Mike," it'll be a text, blah blah blah, or we'll share a scripture and we'll start diving in talking about something, just texting. Sometimes it's very serious, sometimes it's joking. Earlier today it was kind of funny, but it was serious too. But I know how to advocate for myself and get what I need from my friends and my peers. I have an older brother who I lean into a lot, and I have friends that I know I can reach out to. So I think those friends kind of know that role. So when I reach out and I'm in that mode, they feel it. And so it's not that I necessarily get asked so much, but I know how to get what I need from my friends because it's important. And that's something that's come with maturity. I've often I'm still a loner. I still kind of pretty much keep to myself and my family. But sometimes you carrying everything on your own, man. It ain't cool. It ain't easy. And sometimes just having a brother to tell you, hey, yo, you're not odd for that. You're not strange for that. I dealt with that too. I'm still dealing with it. You be like, oh, word, okay. I thought I was the one that was struggling, or I was weak because I was feeling that way. So you kind of bounce back and you recover. But having those people around you, having those type of friendships, number one, is important. And I don't think a lot of men have deep emotional friendships. So that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
About how you get yourself.
So that's a whole nother. Yeah, that's another live stream right there.
Especially as a married man too.
Whole nother one.
And who you need to have those as a married man, especially, right?
Yeah,
they can't be single men.
No, it's hard.
Because you got to hear people that's committed to the path that you're committed to, right? So and who those people are, that's important. I'm gonna shut up because that could be a lot.
No, you was doing good, Darrell. What's up?
Nah, keep talking. I need to know. I'm engaged. Engaged. I want to know some of this stuff. So we'll talk. Darrell.
5 years.
Oh yeah,
we need to talk.
I got 10 years coming up in June.
Go deeper into it. Oh man. Dang.
Yeah.
Y'all getting into that? Oh man. We gotta talk about that.
Anchors. Yeah, we got all
wait. Marriage always starts a different topic, man.
Yeah,
we all here talking about.
Yeah.
It does. I got 15 years over here, man. So
nice. Congrats.
This marriage thing is definitely something that we can definitely talk about.
You almost got a retirement plan out of it.
And that's a whole nother topic, man.
Y'all out here looking super young.
That's a whole other topic because there needs to be an atmosphere for husbands to talk and share and help build each other, man. Like freely. We ain't gonna get into it here, but
Mike.
Yeah,
marriage is the first time a man really delves into what love is.
Fact.
So this is why we need to talk about it because again, the first time a young black man may find love is when he meets a relationship. Never had a father figure. So it is. I don't think it's mutually exclusive from this topic. So you're right. We need a part two.
For sure, because that's my life right there. Because I mean, I grew up without a father in the home, and marriage wasn't something that I grew up seeing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So when I got married, this was I knew it was something that I wanted because I knew I had this thing planned out since I was a boy. Mm-hmm. How I didn't want to, be a baby's daddy,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't trying to pick my kids up on the weekend and nothing like that. Like I wanted to see my boys every single day. You know what I'm saying? Same father, same mother. I have siblings. We don't have the same father. So all this stuff was in my head as a kid. You know what I'm saying? So for not having an example of what marriage is and diving into it, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a learning experience, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just happy that my kids get to see me
Yeah,
and my wife interact. You know,
Same.
Mm-hmm.
they'll know what it is. Like it won't be
Yeah.
far fetched for them.
Yep. Same here.
All right, so sorry to
yeah,
cut y'all off, fellas. Nate, I just got a text message from
real
someone,
quick. Oh, go ahead.
and they were asking, are we responding to comments?
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, I
Speaking of the
responded to
devil,
them
Mike,
already.
is who we were
Yeah, I
talking
told them.
about
Yeah,
earlier.
okay.
yeah.
All right, yeah.
It was his brother. Yeah, we're responding to comments for sure. So, if you're on this, we're definitely responding to comments. StreamYard may not be allowing us to pull it up on the screen unless you're watching from YouTube, but we are responding.
Okay.
So we are doing that. But real quick before because I know Christian got to go. You mean it's your anniversary, and I
Yeah, I
know
want to
Tone's
come
at
back.
work too. Real quick, last thing I want to ask before I start switching people up. Oh yeah, for sure. Real quick, have you? And I think this is super important because this was something I experienced, and this is something that I know a lot of young men are experiencing, and it affects them in their adulthood as men. And the question is, have you been rejected by a father or father figure? Have you ever felt a sense of rejection?
Yeah, I could start off.
Yeah.
I would go. I would.
Good. I would say I have. I remember being younger. My father. I grew up in a single parent household. My mother raised us. My father was in and out. He had a alcoholic addiction, which he's over now. But at times we would be waiting for him to come pick us up. It's like an every other weekend dad type of situation. And I would be waiting for him to come, and it's like I have my pillow, my blanket, and it's like he ain't coming. So after a few times of going through that, it was like, well, I don't need him, forget him, and I just shut off. And just recently, over the last maybe 5 years, we reconnected and we strengthened that bond. But that's still that kid inside of me still has those feelings where it's like he didn't want me at the time or he chose something over me. So that's something that I bring to my mentorship program. When I see the young boys, I see them, I see myself in them, and that's something I try to keep my kids from ever having to go through as well.
I was gonna say, and that was good stuff, Ruben. I was gonna say before I leave, I never been rejected by my father or father figure, but I will say this: I think there were men that I recognized to be pillars who didn't understand me or what my vision
Mm-hmm.
was, and that sense of rejection hurt because it wasn't that they were saying I wasn't a good dude or good man, but it's
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't take time to really understand what or who I was. Right? I think, and that's what I wrote in my book. And in one of the chapters, I said, being misunderstood is your superpower, because a lot of young black boys don't realize early on in life what they feel is being misunderstood is really their bodies telling them, hey, this is what your gift is going to look like. And you're going to probably be around people who don't understand it, but you just need to make sure you understand it. So I think from the rejection piece, I think when I got older and I started putting myself in circles of people who didn't understand me and I began to feel rejected, I had a conversation with myself and strategize with other people about, what, it's not that you're rejected, you're just in the wrong circle. Because sometimes rejection is disguised by a bad environment. It just means you're not supposed to be there. So I think that's a conversation we definitely need to have with our younger kids,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll say
Mm,
that they've been rejected, but really it's their body telling them to reject that environment that is you're in. So I think that's a great conversation. But I want to come to the next one, and my wife is looking at me. So I want to say happy anniversary to Christina. Enjoy those Louboutins, girl, and I'll see y'all brothers later.
All right.
Yes,
Happy
sir.
life, happy life, bro.
Peace out,
Yep.
brother.
I'm gonna need y'all help
all right,
soon.
Christian, man.
God,
Appreciate you. Appreciate
that was crazy.
you. All right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and tag somebody else in real quick. I'm going to pull in Les real quick, and then I'm gonna start pulling in Ty, Tariq, and then also we have my guy brother O coming in. So let's tap in Les real quick, and then I'm gonna let Tone go in a minute after
Yes,
he
sir.
shares. We got Les on. I don't know if his screen's on or not, but he's here now. Another one of the questions I had, and Tone, you can answer this for me because you're about to step
Yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah.
Um, what
So I
does
had. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
what? How important? How important is the validation um, for the success of our black boys? Like how important it is? How important is it to validate them?
For the validation point, I think is extremely important because all of us probably can say at some point of our life we were not. No matter how good we did, it was not good enough. Sometimes good enough is just good enough. So in for me, for the coaching aspect of these kids, sometimes you can't just harp on them just because you feel like it's going to make them better. You got to validate them to be assured of themselves, assured of being who they are, being assured that what they're doing is good, but you can add more effort. But when it comes like the validation to me is
Mm,
100% all the time because a lot of time in my life I wasn't validated. I will always have to validate myself and not worry about anybody else's validation, no matter how good or how bad it really was. To me, I had to validate the reason why I was behind it because I didn't have, that traditional, my dad telling me, you're doing a good job, son, or my mom telling me, both my parents worked really, really hard. So I had to validate myself. So every chance I get to validate one of these young men, definitely young black men, I do it. No matter if I just see them picking up a piece of trash, always congratulate, tell them like, yo, that's a great deed you're doing. Most people's not going to say it, but thanks for doing it. I appreciate you. Like, so to me, validation is
you
everything. Like,
recognize
I
them, you
think it
see them.
exactly, and like some of them do things like, a lot of times you're raised to do, always do good, as if someone's always watching. So when you see someone actually watching and you're trying to do it, you want that validation that they see you, like, but you're supposed to just do the good anyway. But when I see a kid doing good or trying to do good or doing better, I always validate them and tell them like, I see you. Like I really do. I see you.
I can hop in, Nate. We good? I
Yeah,
can come up.
absolutely, absolutely. Do your
Okay.
thing.
Um,
Any of
I,
y'all too.
I actually have
Yeah, for sure.
a story that explains how important validation is. I'm gonna try to keep it short, but I was working at a high school a few years ago, and I had a student come into my office, and the student actually did well on I think it was a test or something, and me just doing, I was continually doing my work. The student was sitting next to me, and I was like, yo, I'm mad proud of you, man. Like you really doing your thing. I'm proud of you. And I just kept doing my work. You know what I'm saying? And then I just started hearing like a couple sniffles, like somebody in the back. And I'm like, yo, I looked over and the student was crying. And I'm like, yo, what's up? What's going on? He was like, Mr. Mike, man, I'm about to be 19 years old. And I've never had nobody tell me that they was proud of me. So since that day, I realized how important
Mm,
it is just to say something small like, yo, I'm mad proud of you, or yo, man, you really doing your thing, or I like the way you're going in life. Like just things like that can take somebody a long way. Like this kid was crying literally in my office because he's never heard anyone say I'm proud of you before. So that's how I know it's super duper important to make sure that you say that to not just young men, young women too, but we talking about young men tonight, but they need to hear it for sure.
that's man, that's so
Yeah,
impactful,
I've
bro. I
grown
remember the
in a
first
way that
time. Whoosh.
Mhm.
Oh no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I was
Yeah,
listening to him. I'm like, man, he about to take me there.
I was just saying, as far as validation, one of the things I learned is kind of where we validate them. Um, it's funny because our young men, especially young black boys, are often validated for what they do as athletes and not as validated for who they are as scholars, as people, as individuals. And so I have a ton of athletes in my mentoring program, um, but I don't make that a focus. I want to validate how's your GPA? How you doing as a person? You know what I mean? What are you contributing to this society? And validating them in those places, um, it encourages them and builds them in a way to help them explore something different about themselves. If it ain't, if you ain't got a wicked jump shot, or you can spit bars, it's like what else can you do as a black male in this society? And there's so much more to us. We're so much more multifaceted, so much more depth to who we are. And so I try to find ways to validate them outside of those spaces, because it comes easy. Like even for the problems, so-called problems in school, if they're good athletes, they love to validate them while they're in their sport, right? As soon as that sport's over, now they're a problem in the building. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's find another way to encourage them outside of how great they are on the field, and more than athletes.
I can speak on that.
Yeah.
That's huge, man. That's huge. That's why. Oh yeah, AJ. Oh, real quick. Because as people know, we're swapping people in and out. So I just added my guy Alan Laws Jr. Call him AJ. And my guy Ty Lewis. Real quick before you jump into it, just quick introduction of who y'all are, and I'm going to swap out two more in a second.
As he spoke, my name is Alan Laws Jr. A lot of y'all probably already know me that's on the platform, but I just want to take my hat off and give my props to Nate for first off reaching out to me for this project. Believe it or not, it was something big for me. It was kind of a platform I've been looking for a long time, and I thought that the profession that I was in would be necessarily what gave me that platform, and it probably still may be a stepping stone, but Nate pretty much brought me out of my shell with this whole project that we got going. So my hat off to Nate and the rest of the authors in this group. But as far as that topic of validation, I can even speak from a professional standpoint. I see it every day when I'm bringing guys, whether I'm bringing guys back to the station or I'm talking to guys at their vehicles or whatever, as far as in reference to law enforcement. I see these guys at their worst points sometimes, and that actually opens my eyes to see, first off, that you got to continue to be not just look at these people as human beings. Look at them as they have struggles themselves. Look at them as they have trials. Some of them may only have mothers at home. There may be domestic violence going on at home. I know even when I was growing up, my house was that house on the street that all my boys came to, because I swear I felt like my parents raised maybe 15, 20 people in my house. You know what I mean? But some people just need that outlet, and sometimes the outlet for them is going out to do something crazy. So I realized where validation comes in, where when I'm fingerprinting that guy or whatever at the station, I'm talking to him and I ask him sometimes, because I look at these people as people because they are. And I say to him, I'm not even looking for the criminal. No matter what you did, my question to you is, how did we get here? You know what I mean? And sometimes their answers come from the most bizarre to the most, I don't have anything else to do. You know what I mean? They didn't have anybody to show them how to do it the right way. So a lot of times you have to, like you said, it depends on where you are to show that validation. And we got to take advantage of whatever opportunities we have as far as showing that validation, whether it's coaching, whether, like I said, I coach and then I'm also in law enforcement. Don't look at those people as just criminals that did something bad, but look at the reason as to why they did it and how we can fix it. How can we make it so we're not going, and I'm not seeing you back here again. Allow them to know, listen, this is it. This is the last time I need to see you here. I don't care if it takes for me to come out to your house and speak to you on a regular basis to make sure you're staying on track. You know what I mean? Let these people know that they're more important, not just another black kid or another black male or another individual in general walking around the street, and they're meant for the system. I had so many of my boys tell me, man, I do this jail stuff, man. Like, it ain't about nothing no more. That's because it's nobody telling them, no, it is about something. It's so much more that you can be doing with your freedom out here. But they need somebody to tell them what it is that they can do. They need somebody to tell them just as small as the I love you, as small as I care for you. For them to say, maybe I should be looking for something else to do. Looking for somebody just to give them a little leg and say, listen, I got an opportunity for you right here if you decide to leave what you're doing now. So that's my piece on it.
That's what they need, opportunity. That's huge. You said that, bro. In regards to opportunity, because it's like, don't tell me to stop doing something if you don't have a solution on the other end to present to me. Like we can't come to them with like, yo, I want to pour into these young boys. It's like, nah, they need resources, fam. They need connections. They need jobs. They need what we have, what we've learned. They need those things. We got to come with something to present to them. Um, so we have to see it that way. It's not just going out, yeah, I want to be a mentor to these kids. Like, what does that mean specifically? You know what I'm saying? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What do you have to offer them? How is your life going on the other end? How are you living righteously so you can actually pour into them, right? So real quick before I go into a whole tangent, I'm gonna let Ty go on, and then after Ty, I'm gonna let Darrell say some parting words before he switches out and drop some wisdom on us. Go ahead, Ty. Introduce yourself.
So as he said, what's up, brothers? I'm Ty Lewis. First and foremost, this is just amazing. I'm honored to be a part of this conversation here. A lot of people know me as an artist. I'm also a youth advocate and mentor for many years. I'm big on actually doing the work, like Nate was saying, and as somebody who deals with, in social work and sees the hard cases every single day, I like when people are actually doing the work. So this is a form of doing the work, and all of what you gentlemen do is a form of doing the work. And I appreciate each and every one of you. As far as what Darrell said earlier about where we're validating them, I think that is crucial. I think that's absolutely crucial, because we have to make sure we're calling up and out the right things in our young Black men. And I'll just give one example. I do weekly men's groups at my job, when we deal with youth from 18 to 21. And of course, I was having a meeting, and one of the young men were, being a class clown, not really taking in the information. However, I had invested in him and engaged in him with conversations outside of that group. So I knew that he had leadership ability in him. So, he just met his match in me. So I was able to say, he was clowning around and just, laughing, not really paying attention. So when it was time for the Q&A portion, who do y'all think I called out to ask the questions? It was him. And not to embarrass him, but I knew that he would answer the questions, because he was first wise and one, a leader. And if I asked him the questions and he got it right, the rest of the class would follow his lead. You know what I mean? So when I called him out, he got a little beside himself, was like, but he answered the questions. And after the class, he's like, Mr. Ty, you called me out and everything like that. I said, but did you have the answer? He said, yes. I said, what did the rest of the young people do? He said, they got quiet. They started listening. I said, you're a leader. And that's the bar I'm holding for you. And I'm never going to put it down. You have to validate what's in them, the qualities that are in them, because as soon as he goes out of my presence, he walks into a society that already has a name for him, already has him in statistics, already knows that he's not worthy, already looking for him to be arrested, already looking for him to be a part of a gang and in drugs and things like that. So every time that we're in front of these young Black men, we have to call out and validate the things that are going to make them successful in society, that's going to make them feel like they have a weapon against this world. And if it's a leadership ability, if it's a talent, even if it is athletics, if that's what it is, that's going to prepare them for this world, that's what we have to validate. Unfortunately, they get, young Black men get the typecast as, they're only as good as the parameter of their athletic ability. You know what I mean? Or they're only as good as, the father that was never there for them. You know what I mean? And so we have to kind of change the narrative by applauding them in every little way, saying, I love you, acknowledging those success moments. Like what Tony said earlier, if they threw something in the trash instead of littering, we have to let them know that's what's up. And that's honorable. And you're a man, you're a king. Every chance we get. And so that's what I've devoted my life to since I was 18. And to still be doing this and seeing how I'm on this call right now with a bunch of Black men, fellas, who are just dedicated to it as well. It just feels like a team is out here, a tribe is out here, and we got this. So that's my piece.
Man, I knew Ty was gonna come with the heat. Oh man, I knew he was coming. Good, I said, all right. Why he come on here like that? Like, why him and AJ come on here wilding on this? Oh man. Real quick. Before Darrell and Ruben head out the chat and I switch it out. Real quick, I want any closing remarks from you gentlemen. Anything that you would recommend for men and young men to really open up. What are some things that we can do? What are some things that you're doing? Anything that you have, encouraging words, anything you can share for us to start being more vulnerable and realize that that is the cool thing to do. That is okay to do. That does make you strong. But when you're holding in, and you're hiding out, that's when you become weak. So, anything you have you want to share before I switch you guys out?
I just what we're experiencing right now, in the age of COVID-19 and so-called social distancing. I think what people are trying to find a way to do, because we have to, is how to remain, physically distant, but actually socially close. And what tools and how we speak to one another, how we reach out. Seeing people, even jumping on a Zoom, it has like a totally different feeling than it ever did before. I only related Zoom to meetings in the past. That ever stood out that's going to have such value as it does now, as a way to connect with one another. So I think as we are exploring these ways to remain connected, that we come out of this better, by connecting with one another. I feel like everybody has a responsibility to be a mentor, whether it's to a younger brother. You got your own family members. You don't have to go far to do it. Nobody's asking you to start a group, get a 501c3. It's like, no, knock on your neighbor's door. Call up your nephew, call up your little brother. Like, you could start right there. That's what it is. And how do we connect with these young men in a meaningful and valuable way? How do we add value to their lives? And I think as we go through this and we come out of it, we should come out of it better. And we have all these new tools that we figured out, how to use to stay connected even though we're apart. So continue to use them, continue to reach out to people, checking on people. But you always be a mentor or be being mentored at every stage in your life. And if you're not doing one of the two, you're not living the life that you're fulfilled and called to live. So if you don't have a mentor, even as an adult man, get one. And if you aren't mentoring someone, find a mentor. So that's what I leave. But I thank y'all for having me on here, Nate. Man, I really appreciate your leadership and this whole project. I'm not an OG. My knee might be right now. I'll take the OG term. I'll take the age term. It's all right. Coming to that realization, having to cut off my hair this year, and some other that I'm at that level. And you know what? But it's good though, because I've always known I'm not going to be able to stay in this place as like the direct mentor for years, right? Like especially to teams. At some point, I'm going to move from the role as a mentor actually to an elder, and I'm going to be someone younger that's going to be closer to mentor those teams. So it's great to see younger men coming up, that's carrying a banner and that's working hard and that's on the same battlefield. So I appreciate y'all. I salute y'all. God bless.
Yeah,
I
I would like
appreciate
to
you, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
add on to that as well. I always take it upon myself to try to be that mentor to all my nieces and nephews first before I ever thought about like creating a group, because that's where it starts. It's like you're having your children. It's not good enough. It's like there's a lot of work to be done out here. The more we connect and jump in together, the work becomes lighter. The load gets lighter. And I just want to encourage everybody to just keep staying connected. I love Nate's podcast, especially the one on checking on your strong friend, because I know a lot of us we fall into that role where we're constantly checking on other people, but then when it's time for us to get that call back, it never comes, and we feel displaced and we feel alone at times. So I'm glad to be in this group of men right here, because it makes me feel validated in a way where the work that I'm doing is not forgotten. It's not. I know I can't do it all. So seeing all these 10 men here and the men that we connected with over the last few years, it's like, okay, cool. This can be done. We can make a difference. Like, I know I can't do it alone, but I see all of you guys picking up the shovel as well. It's like the book, everything else, especially like what Darrell said, seeing Nate do it because he's younger than me. It's like, okay, cool. Like I can sit back and relax a little bit because Nate's coming up, and then he has people that are coming up under him. Especially what Mike does with Mac. It's like we're creating. I wrote in my letter, we're creating a little army of men that are well informed, they're well intended, and we're gonna get the job done. So I just want all the young men out there, like Darrell said, if you don't have a mentor, reach out at any time. Like my DM is open. My name is my Facebook name. If you need questions, life is difficult, and a lot of us grow up without having that person in our lives to point us in the right direction. So at any time, like reach out. We're here. So I just want to applaud all you guys and Nate as well for reaching out. Mike is a mentor of mine as well, and I'm just glad to be a part of the process. And I'm gonna continue to do my part.
Man. Yo,
Facts.
Ruben, man, I
That's
really
what's up.
appreciate you, man.
Thanks.
For everything you're doing. It's incredible, man. We did some work a little earlier. Was it last year? We did some work
Yeah.
together in Atlantic City and some stuff, man. Ruben's up to some amazing things, man. So again, I appreciate you. I got some fire authors for this book, y'all. Y'all don't understand. Like, y'all see the quality of these books. I appreciate you, Ruben, man. So I'm gonna swap you out, throw a lesson here, man. I'll talk with you later, man. Be blessed. And I'm gonna throw lesson real quick. And before we go into the introduction of everybody, I know Mike, we got some questions on Facebook. So I know we had one from Ashton from your brother, right? Chris? Is that the one you wanted to answer?
I saw some stuff that he was writing up there, and I was just like, if you wanted to, because on Facebook Live, it's people putting stuff in there, but I just don't know exactly what they're saying.
Yeah, we can definitely answer that.
Yeah, Darrell kind of touched on it briefly. Like ways like our young men, we really have to get out of that. They don't really like to share anything. Like people like to keep everything in. And that's something that we have to slowly get out of. And I don't think that's something that people can just jump right out of immediately. But that is something that can gradually grow in you. Like I believe that it should be one person in your life where you should be able to call and be transparent with. And if you don't have that one person, then you can always pray, and God is always listening. That's somebody you can always talk to and be as transparent as you ever wanted to be. So that's definitely the number one thing. But you should definitely have somebody in your life where you can call up and be like, yo, I'm going through, man, or I'm feeling like this, or this happened yesterday and I felt like I wanted to respond like this, but what should I do? You know what I'm saying? And you should have that one person in your circle to be able to respond to you and give you that positive response and that uplifting response. Like if you was thinking about responding a certain way and it's way off, you need that person to be like, look, man, I know you're feeling this way, but let's calm down for a minute. Let's think about what you were about to do, and that's not the right way. So let's just talk about it. And as people get used to talking more, it becomes more something that you're more comfortable with, and you can just do it like off the rip. Like as soon as you're feeling a little off, you can reach out to that one individual and be like, yo, I'm feeling crazy today. What's up? Like I have a few people in my life like that where I call up. You know what I'm saying? If I'm feeling a little weird, I'm feeling a little off, or if I want to respond, especially being a coach. I know it's a couple people in the chat that said they were coaches. We get, especially being a head coach, sometimes, man, like the stuff that we go through and the stuff that we hear about from parents and stuff like that, like you be ready to flip a little bit. But as the head coach, we carry this special weight that a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people don't know a lot of stuff that we deal with. So it's sometimes I got to call my brother and be like, yo, man, what's the name said this? Can you believe that? And they like, yo, man, calm down, relax, man. He always gives me a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like you need that person in your life where if you seen it this way the whole time and it's crazy, and that's that one person in your life to be like, but did you see it like this though? And then that just makes you sit back like, wow, I didn't even look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we need to make sure that that's the number one way I believe that somebody should be able to open up more. Make sure you have that person that you trust, that you can be transparent with. Like when you start telling them like stuff about secret stuff in your life that they ain't gonna go telling everybody. Like this has to be somebody that you really trust, that you can really pour your life out to, and just build together, and all that stuff kind of like stays between you guys and somebody that you can pray with, man. Like if you don't got somebody in your crew that you can sit down with and be like, yo, can you pray for me, bro? If they can't do that, then it's an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like if you be like, yo, if I hit you up like, yo, Ty, I don't even really know you, but just from the way of just hearing the stuff that you talked about, and just I can feel in the spirit right now that you somebody I can be like, yo, Ty, bro, pray for me right quick. And it'll be
absolutely, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the way we gotta be. If you don't have nobody in your crew that you can be like, yo, I need prayer, man. Can you lift me up real quick? If you don't have nobody like that, then you need to start chipping start scathing some friends off your list and start looking for real. For real.
Yeah, that's so huge, man. It makes me think about this quote. I think I shared this with Les. It was like, your friends are good for your flesh, but are they good for your faith? Oh man, and what you said just made me think of that.
Wow,
that's huge, man. That
hits heavy. That hits
heavy, right? Because that's a friend that's what our young men need, man. They don't need friends that are conditional. They don't need friends that just want to do wild stuff with them. They need somebody that's really there for them. You know what I'm saying? Which is huge. So I appreciate you sharing that. Real quick, I want to allow Les and Tariq to introduce themselves. So go ahead, Reek, and then Les, you'll go next.
Well, I'm Tariq. First and foremost, caught in the quarantine look. I look crazy out here, but but I'm Tariq. I'm an author and poet, and the list goes on or whatever. But I'm a regular Douglas out here, just trying to inspire people through my art, transparency, and creativity. And Nate, I appreciate you for allowing me to be a part of this passion project. All love, bro. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Go ahead, Les.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
My name is Junior. Hey, look, I gotta keep the water flowing.
He ready. You see the way he grabbed that water?
Y'all always clowning.
Yeah, it's funny because you used to do the same thing in high school, bro. For real, that's funny.
Yo.
All right, but my name is Les Squire Jr. Look, man, I'm just a servant leader, man. I got a lot of different titles. I'm just a vessel, man, just looking to pour into young people, constantly, adding value to them as much as I can. I'm a father of 4, so I'm constantly learning. You know what I mean? I'm constantly adapting. So, it's a movement here in my own household. So when I go out there, I'm well versed. But yeah, again, I appreciate this opportunity, Nate. This is a great opportunity. All these brothers on here sharing and dropping gems and just sharing their stories and backgrounds. I know a lot of these gentlemen here, but Mike, what's up, man? I never met you before. I heard a lot of good things about you. Look forward to connecting. But man, this is just phenomenal, Nate. Keep this up, man. All y'all fellas, I appreciate what y'all doing. Y'all inspired me.
Likewise, bro.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you. If y'all don't know, me and Les go way back, like way back. That's my best friend, brother, business partner, everything, man. That's my guy. And he's always been super supportive, especially during this mission. When I first brought it to him, he was like, let's go. Like this is what we do. So super excited to have him here. And real quick, I want to ask some similar questions that I asked to the first round of guys. How's my audio?
You good? Got a little reverb.
I'm straight.
Yeah.
Little bit.
Now you're good.
You good?
All right, we're gonna work through it. So real quick, I want to ask you this question of, and again, this is huge for me. Have you ever been rejected or felt rejected by your father or a father figure? And Mike was already on, so I want to let the other guys go ahead and answer this one.
I'll speak on it first.
And anybody can answer. You don't got to
I never necessarily from my dad. A lot of people here on the platform right now kind of know my pop, believe it or not. My pop, my best friend. I'm gonna be honest. So he he kind of been everything to me. So as far as rejection on that standpoint, I never really looked or outsourced for another father figure on that standpoint. But as far as being rejected in a circle or in a room, I think that comes into play, like what Christian was saying. There's been times where I know I probably was somewhere that I shouldn't have been, or I was in a group of guys I shouldn't have been in, or even at a venue that I should not have been at, and I didn't feel right. You know what I mean? And there's been times, of course, like I was the guy out of my crew, pretty much, that was always about the books. Wasn't at the parties really, even in college. They called me the square. You know what I mean? So I didn't feel rejected with that, but they labeled me as pretty much what they felt that I was, because it just told me that I was different. And being different, I just want to draw that line there. Being different don't always mean that you reject it. You just, like Christian was talking about earlier, you might just have to choose a different circle or conform your circle to you.
Conform your circle to you. That's big. That's big, especially when you're the leader of that circle.
Yes, sir.
I'll speak on that too, as far as can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'll speak on that too. I wasn't I don't think my father intentionally rejected me, but there have been times growing up where I felt rejected. And that was based on just, my dad had 3 sons. And so, I grew up in an athletic household, including myself. All of us was athletic. But then I was also the artistic kid. So, and my dad was militant, was from the military guy and things like that. So it was, he didn't know what I needed. You understand? So by him, I was the emotional one. I was a different type of kid. So my dad didn't come from that, nor did he have an example of being affectionate and things like that. So because he was ill-equipped or whatever, I felt rejected from that. Since then, we can talk about saying I love you to a kid or to a young Black boy, but will they be receptive? And the thing is around the time my dad began to, deal with himself and then be ready to start telling me I love you and have that emotional support that I needed, I had been so guarded that I was so guarded at that point that I didn't receive it. So then what had to happen was we can say, how do we get to the young Black boy receiving the love? And that by that way, to Mike's point, you have to build trust. But how do we build trust? You build trust by engagement. So my dad started to engage with me and take interest in the things that I liked and who I was and what was going on around me and what made me happy and joyous. And then our relationship flourished. So now my father and I, we have a wonderful relationship. Great relationship, all to the glory of God. And I use that as my example when I'm out there mentoring. It's like, I can tell these Black boys, I love them all I want, but are they going to accept it? And that's based on their story, their upbringing, their pain, their past hurt, and all that other stuff. So my first goal is to not only approach with love, but be willing to put in the time to engage with them, to build the trust that's necessary for them to gain any type of gem from me. From them to put anything that I say to them in their pocket or in their bank of wisdom for them to use in their future. You know what I mean? So we have to make sure that we're also engaging and taking the time to, and with that engagement comes a lot of rejection too. They might reject you. So this is to all the future mentors and people who's trying to come up. They might reject you based on their heart, based on their hurt, but you got to be willing to put in the work to come back, just like Christ would. Though I ain't gonna start preaching, but you got to be willing to stay there with your arms stretched out. You know what I mean? Waiting for them to come in and receive that love. And it might take a few times to stick with them. They'll get it.
I can't really speak to the rejection part. I never joke, really. Right at home, and I can dive even deeper into it as far as the spiritual aspect, but I don't want to be here preaching either. But as far as the rejection part, I can't really relate to that as far as father figures rejecting me or anything like that. As an African American male, we are rejected in some capacity. And ultimately, it's a matter of us trying to find our place in this world, regardless of how we're perceived. And I think that's the important part of this, trying to stay away from that rejection part. I think we can all.
How about you, Les? You got anything on that? I think you muted, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was muted because I kind of hear like a echo. So can y'all hear that? Or am I good?
You good?
You good?
Nah, you good. All right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in regards to rejection, I can kind of piggyback off of what Ty said. You know, now I have a great relationship with my father. But when I was growing up, we really didn't see eye to eye. Like Ty said, my dad was very stern, very militant. You know, it was no before I can get a word out of my mouth. You know, it was very, very strict. So I resented him for that. You know what I mean? I know his father died when he was 3. So he didn't have a male figure, right? But for me, not being selfish, but I still needed you. I still need you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to become the person that I wanted my dad to be. You know what I'm saying? I had to become that. So instead of me constantly being on the phone, like yo, what's up? Because for those that know me, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur. That's one thing I will say my dad blessed me with in the beginning was like entrepreneurship. He shared that with me back when I was like 6 years old. And ever since then, not only have I had my own business, I've been helping so many other people build their businesses. So that's been a blessing. But that was only the surface of our relationship. Yo, what's up? What's up, Dad? What's up, Les? How the business doing? Everything good? Anybody, any new clients? Yeah, we got. It was just always kind of like that. And how's the family? How's that? But it was always surface. We never went deep. And the rejection came from him always being on the conference call, always having a PBR, always on the laptop, always going to a conference. So a lot of times, even when he was there, he didn't feel like he was there. So I was. It really. It hurt me, you know what I'm saying, as growing up. But over time, I saw that there was a barrier, and I had to step up and approach him like, yo, look, this is what's going on with me. I need this from you. And a lot of us are unwilling to do that because, we got our own egos. We got our own pride. And sometimes it's the expectation of us not getting exactly what we want. We scared, we fearful. So I'm gonna tell this story because I think that I think it's really important. So right before my daughter was born, she's 5 months now. So five months ago, my wife is like, look, why don't you and your dad put up the crib, get ready for the baby. So me and my dad, we sitting in her room crib. Started at like 11 o'clock. We didn't get done until like 3, 4 in the morning. And the reason why we did that is because I don't know what happened. I know the Holy Spirit was definitely working in that space, but I just got to talking to him. We just got to talking. I wanted to learn about why he did what he did, how, he grew up. And I started learning so many different things from him, and I understood why he was doing what he was doing to me, right? And it gave me so much relief that I felt like, and I know this might seem like extra, y'all, but I literally felt like the 15-year-old me leave me at that moment because I was afraid to talk to him. I felt like a little boy in a 30-year-old man body. I got 4 children. I've been married for 7 years. I still feel like a 15-year-old kid, fearful to talk to my dad because I didn't want to hurt his feelings. And then I didn't know where it was going to go because I remember him just being stern and saying, no. So it was just, I just avoided it. But I didn't really become a man. I'm going to be honest with you. I ain't really like tap into really becoming a man until I was able to address what was going on with me and my dad. And that was all through our relationship with God. That was a long-winded answer, but you got it.
Nah, I appreciate it, man.
That's
I
good,
went to
bro.
go check the I went to check the chat, and people in there like, yo, y'all preaching, like they're going crazy. So y'all can't see the chat, obviously. But real quick, before I let Mike go and bring Brother Owen, our last guest, and author, did you want to answer that question, or did we already answer that question from your brother? We didn't answer that, did we?
Yeah, we did. I think I
Oh,
did.
we did. All right. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure it's the same one. So real quick before you jump off, what are some things that you can share right now? Something to empower our Black boys. You know what I'm saying? Something to encourage them, something that you believe can plant a seed in them. You know, they may not get it today, but like years from now or something, they may receive it and be like, you know what? You know, Mr. Mike did tell me that. You know what I'm saying? He did put that into me. Something that you would share with the guys in your Mac group. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think one thing that the young people today, it's kind of hard for them to try to listen to us because we've already been there. So like when we're talking to these dudes, we're like, yo, we already took that route. Like, don't take this route, but they still kind of want to take the route for themselves, just so they can be like, dang, Mr. Mike just told me that, or Alan just told me that, or they told me that a couple years ago. Like, if we can just get the young men to truly understand, like, if you've been blessed with a mentor who's actually walked these streets or walk this or walk that path, and if they're literally telling you like, look, don't do it this way, like we got to make sure that they really understand, like, yo, really don't do it that way, because if you do it that way, such and such is going to happen. Like, I really want to get our young people to really understand that it's so important to have a mentor, and but not just having a mentor, but actually listening to your mentor when they're trying to explain things to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the important thing about having a mentor is exactly for you not to do this exact same thing, not to walk the same paths, like not to fall down that same dip that I fell in. You know what I'm saying? If we can get them to understand, like, yo, really listen to what I'm trying to tell you and understand what I'm trying to tell you, and then to sink in, that'd be great. And I think, and Ty hit this earlier, I believe, it's about relationship. I think relationship is probably the strongest thing right now that needs to be implemented into a lot of mentor programs. We have to get this relationship thing going. And one of the things that came to mind when Ty was talking about the young man that was in one of his groups, one thing that I've learned that has really changed the way I think is, we all know that young people put walls up, right? And that's because of whatever's been going on in their life from whatever. And a lot of times we try to start taking down the wall. Like, we think we strong enough. So if we see a young man who has that wall up, and we be like, yo, I think I can reach this dude, I'm gonna start trying to take this wall down. That's where we go wrong. That's where we go wrong, because the only person who can take that wall down is the person. They got to take that wall down, and we just got to be on the other side of the wall when they finally take everything down. Like, yo, I told you I was here. I told you I'm not going nowhere. You feel me? And that's the number one thing. Like, a lot of people don't want to stay connected with people because they don't trust them. And if we sitting here telling a young man that we love them, they hear that, they can probably hear that, but they know it's not true. So for us to continue to be there, through the hard times, through the good times. So when that wall finally does come down and we still on the other side, like, yo, what's good? I love you still. Now,
love you still.
Yeah, now that's when everything can start being built. I just went on a tangent there, but I hope I touched on whatever the question
That was good.
Nah, man, I appreciate you.
I'm sorry, like that question, like he was just saying, like, I just had a question for all of us on what Mike was just saying, because like, as people like us, like we're passionate about helping others, so it's kind of like, all right, when someone is hurting, naturally we want to help them, but when you're saying like, oh, let them, go by the wall, whatever, like, how do we break that wall down? Because I think at a certain point, it's like, okay, let them go through the process of life and let them figure it out. But at the same time, when they're going through the process of life and they're hurting themselves and harming themselves, like, what do we do to help? See what I'm saying?
What I would say to that, Tariq, I would say just be there, bro. Just be there. Like every time they turn around, everything, your face is the one that they see, your voice is the one that they hear. And what I mean by, like, when I say we can't be the ones to take the wall down, I don't necessarily mean for us to stop trying to engage and be a part of the young person's life. But what I mean is, like, they have to start building that trust to when they can let the wall come down and they can truly let us into their lives. That's kind of like what I meant. So during this, all while they're learning in life and while they're falling in these dips, and when they're coming out of these dips, and when they're getting stronger and getting weaker and being rebuilt, just be there. To me, that's the most important thing, man. Like, these kids will cuss you out and tell you they don't care about you, and you get out my face, you ain't my dad, F you, all this kind of stuff. And then they so used to doing that, and then when you do that, a lot of people leave. Like, man, I ain't dealing with this little dude, man.
Like, you gotta be there.
Right.
Yeah, but when you still there, but like, yo, you can cuss me out all you want, little bro. I'm gonna be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be here the next day. And after they continually set you there, that's when the relationship, that's when the love is shown, and that's when the relationship is built. And then not till then, that's when we can truly connect, because they trust us now, and there's no wall and there's no barrier in the middle anymore.
And that's back to what Ty was saying as far as the relationship and that connection that they have with you and everybody else. You know, just having that connection allows us to be able to, I guess, break the wall down, or allows them to see self-worth in themselves, to be able to break the wall down themselves. You know?
For sure. And that was the reason why Ty was able to do that in his group, because he had a connection with that kid. Like some random dude wouldn't have been able to do that, because just like he said afterwards, he was like, yo, Ty, you kind of came at me a little bit, but he came at him in love because he knew Ty and has a relationship with him. But let that happen to some other dude, he probably would have got cussed out for doing that.
But he had that relationship with Ty, and he couldn't even come to Ty and say what he said. Like, yo, what's up with you? You know?
Mike, I love what you said, because the source of that is not just love, it's unconditional love.
For sure.
Right? Because a lot of people, they love with terms. There's all like, it's love. I'm gonna love you until you do this to me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna love you until you do that to me. So I love how you shared. Like, that's a big point you shared. I hope people didn't miss that. Little bro gonna cuss you out, but you gonna be like, look, tomorrow I'm gonna be here. And I'm gonna be here, and I'm gonna be here. And if you there, they're gonna change up, because you beating them with love. What they say, kill them with kindness. Right? If you constantly there, they like, yo, I can't do nothing to move this dude, and then they start cutting down that barrier. Like, Nate, I don't know if you remember when we went back to Pleasantville and we ran a program in there. The young boy came to me and was like, yo, listen, before you even start, how long you gonna be here? Because I don't hear nothing you gotta say if you just gonna share what you gotta share and you out. Like, bro, he was willing to receive.
That's really how he came at him, though.
They got a barrier because they're so used to people loving them with conditions, loving them with terms. And we need to get out of that. Like, so when I say I love you unconditionally without no terms. Ain't nothing you can do to me for me to cut you off. Nothing. Nothing.
Nothing.
That's so important.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Can I just remark to what Mike and what Les was saying? I totally agree. No, but
one second, real quick, because I'm gonna have Brother O jump on real quick and swap Mike out real quick so he can get some of this combo as well. He's a little late. Mike, appreciate you, man. Ty, don't forget your thought. Appreciate you, man. Go get some food, man. I know you. I know you over there starving.
I was hungry. My wife asked me if I wanted before. I said, nah. Let me let me just go on real quick before I try to eat something. Cause I ain't want to be burping, and, you know what I mean? But yo, I just want to say, yo, all you do, you guys are dope, man. I'm grateful to be a part of this project, and not just a part of the project, but just to be involved in some new brotherhood relationships, man. This is dope.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, bro.
That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about, man. Mike, appreciate you, man. Love you. I'll talk with you a little bit later.
All right, for sure.
Love you, bro.
I'm gonna go ahead and here, y'all, and then Ty, you can go ahead and get into it, and then I'm gonna introduce Brother O. Go ahead, Ty.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to comment on or add to the conversation. You have to know what I've learned in all my years of mentoring is that we also have to acknowledge the fact that you want to be a mentor, you cannot be their savior.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You have to know, you have to know what season you are in with these young people. There's no losses in this. So if you are the person that just plants the seed, you just won. And maybe your season is just to plant the seed, and somebody else is going to come along and water it. Yep. And then, you know what I mean? God will increase that. You have to know what season you're in, because sometimes you will run into a young person who just will not receive from you. They won't receive from you. The only thing they will get is that they will allow you to plant the seed with conversation and engagement and always coming back and showing up and being consistent. So you can drop those seeds, but you may not be the person to water them. So you have to be okay with that. And you cannot look at, all I did was plant a seed as a loss. All I did was water the seed. That's a loss. No, it's not. Those are wins. When you start thinking that you're their God, that they ought to be looking at you, that they ought to be listening to you, they should respect that you showed up 20 times or whatever, that's when you made it about you and not about them. Sometimes you have to be able to back up and say, this was my season with you. And not only, don't just leave them there, but give them a resource to somebody for their next season. Okay, so I'm done with this young person, but Les can take them further than I could. Alan can take them further than he could. Nick can take them next season. You know what I mean? We have to be able to be a resource to them. We're not their source. That's God's job.
Yes, sir.
That's heavy. That's heavy. Real quick, before we move forward. Yeah, right. Before we go forward, though, Brother O's on the call, man, and what I want you to do is just introduce yourself real quick, Brother O. To the audience, to the live stream. Let people know who you are.
Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is your boy, Brother O. Motivational speaker, not on speaking platforms, but just through videos that I've been doing over the past 2.5 years. I call myself your brother because when I got born again, we haven't received the spirit of fear. We received the spirit of adoption where we cry out, Abba, Father. So by default, I'm your brother if we got the same Lord. And I call myself opinion because that's in America, everybody's entitled to what? Their opinion. But just to take the negative connotation out of it, and hopefully my light and my seed planting, like my brother Ty said, my opinion will become your truth. So that's me, Brother O. I'm in love with a beautiful young lady. I got 2 daughters, and let's change the world.
Oh man, what kind of deaf poetry jam is going on?
I know. Yo, it just hit me right here. I guess I practiced that. It just hit me right here.
Oh man, I'm on the line with some real creatives, man. Some real poetry heavy hitters. Like I'm thinking, like, man, maybe I should step to the side and write some of this down. Like,
I need to reintroduce myself. I gotta reintroduce myself.
I didn't even write it down. That was just
Yo, Nate, take me off. I'm gonna reintroduce myself.
Hey, I'm on last for a reason then.
Oh man, look. Oh man, y'all are funny. Y'all
My
are funny,
bad.
man. That's right. No. That was dope, man. Real quick though, I want to ask y'all a question, and each one of you can answer this, right? Because this was the thematic for the book. This was the reason I put everything together. And it was a quote that I heard when I was at that conference last year, and it says, and I shared this with each and every one of you before, but I really want you to expand on it now. And the quote was, "Love black men and boys like they've never been hated." What does that mean to you? And anybody can go. There's no specific order.
I have something, and then I'm gonna stop talking because I know I've been talking a lot. That means don't treat them like a victim. Don't talk to them like they're a victim. You know what I mean? We have to talk them. We have to speak to them as if they're up here and not down here. We can't belittle them. Society does that enough. We have to, if we're going to call them kings, we got to treat them like kings. We got to approach them like kings. We can't say, "Oh, look at you, little wounded bird. Look at you that went through. Look at you who never had a daddy." Oh, no, we got to say things like, "Your father wasn't there, but I am, and I still see you. You're great. You're awesome. Yeah. Just where you are, just at the level that you're at right now, you're awesome. And I expect you to stay awesome." The end, period. You know what I mean? So just speaking to them, speaking them up and not speaking down to them and not treating them like a victim. That's what that means to me.
Yeah, keep it going. Keep it, man. I appreciate you. Keep going.
One thing I feel like it's that question is pretty much are saying love them like they've never been hated. I mean, I get to see it every day, pretty much. As far as work, a lot of them already feel kind of love as to where they are because of the fact that they may be either headed behind bars or just getting out of cuffs or whatever the situation is. Even on a coaching standpoint, they could they can be coming home from a crazy household, so they may feel hated even there. But my biggest thing that I feel like we can do as far as bringing something to the table to that is, I say one thing that I had a coach say to me before was, take the time to look at the man in the mirror. And I think sometimes it's our job to hand that kid that mirror, because a lot of times it's hard for them to change themselves and see that they're not hated, accept love, trust, love someone else, give that love to someone else. It's hard to do that if you don't even know who you are yet. So a lot of times it's us to be that vessel to say, here you go. Take this mirror. It's one that I had to use many times. Right. Take this mirror, look at it, know exactly who you are. Know that you're a king. I don't even know when that phrase came out, but it was one of the dopest phrases that came out that I've seen, whether it was on shirts or whatever. But young king, when we start referring to young black kids and young black men as young king, that was huge, I think, for our generation, because it started allowing us to see each other as, yo, boy, yo, my man, yo, that's my guy. They start looking at each other as something much higher. It allowed them to be able to, when I say look in the mirror, look at yourself in the mirror and put yourself on that pedestal that you belong on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Don't just because of the household or whatever it is, whatever situation it is that you're coming from. It does everywhere that you go. You might be able to find that mirror somewhere where you gotta just go looking and reevaluate and say, who am I? I don't care if you're stuck in a party where everything around you is going wrong, or everything around you may look right, but you find that mirror and you say, either what am I doing here, or who am I really? Where should I be? So I think it's up to us sometimes to take that mirror that we had to look into and hand it to that young brother, that young boy, that young male, even guys our age, and say, yo, it's time to look at the man in the mirror and know who you really are. Understand that you aren't hated, but you are loved. But you got to know who you are first to be able to accept it.
Right. Right.
Facts, bro. Absolutely.
I would say empathy over sympathy, kind of like what Ty was talking about. He kind of, I mean, it's a difference. A lot of people don't even know there's a difference, you know? Empathizing and understanding where they are to be able to help them. Like, we can't help nobody if we don't empathize and feel where they are. If we're able to feel where they are and empathize with them, we're able to help them get to the next level in their lives. And I think society as a whole, there's a perception as far as black men. And if we're going to be able to help them, we have to understand where they are and be empathetic to where they are in their lives at that given moment. I think that's really ultimately what it is: empathy over sympathy. That's
Wow.
And I have to say, I'm not really saying too much because I have like the same thing Ty is saying is my thought process. I know you said social work, so I have a social work background as well. So I have to think like the process is like the same exact way. And we talk about empathy a lot in social work instead of sympathizing.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a process as far as life, but we have to go past that. I'm more about action rather than talking. And this whole piece that we're doing, we're talking, we're doing the work to be able to go on to the next stage. That's
all facts, man. These is gems, man. These is gems.
I had to write that one down,
bro.
I had to write that one down, man. Brother, oh, what do you have to say about that quote? In regards to loving black men and boys like they've never been hated. Like, what does that say to you?
Well, number one, I mean, love is a command. Love is a command, and I don't believe I can give what I don't have. I can't give love if I haven't received love. And I got my love through a person who have came and rescued me because I was working hard to go to hell. I was working there, but hell wouldn't let me in. But I got rescued, and now I have something to give to these young men. And I don't love to convert people. I love because I've been converted. So it's just one of those situations where it doesn't matter if I'm in front of a young man who had, I don't know, he grew up as Cliff Huxtable as his father or James Evans as his father. You see what I mean? They both need love.
According to Wikipedia, in geography
and my bad. I don't know. I guess Google wanted to talk to me. That never happens. That never happens. But yeah, but more so just giving what I have, and because I've received it, and I just feel as though it's a command. And if anything, I owe anybody. I don't owe anybody anything, but I owe to love them. If anything,
Right.
I was going to go on a whole nother tangent, but Siri messed me up. Whoever
it's all good. What about you, Les?
Yeah. So,
did you tap in with this, Les?
I think it has a lot to do with exposure, man. I mean, everything that you fellas said, I don't really have to say anything because I'm in agreement with all of you. The thing that I would just say, if I were to add, is just exposure. They need to see it, man. They need to see it from us. They need to see it from the ones who are talking the talk. Like, we got to walk the walk too, because it's tough to. It's tough to try to be something that you don't see at all. So if they're constantly seeing it and they're constantly being around it, exposed to it, they'll see that, like Aaron said, they'll be able to see themselves in the mirror. You know what I mean? So I love that empathy over sympathy, man. That's powerful. That's what we need. Like, we need the kids to get that exposure, man. This video right here need to be in every single young black kid's face right now. Every single black young man, black young girl, they need to be on this joint, right? For parent, look, this is a call to action. For all the parents, I know I'm gonna go on a tandem. But for all y'all parents, y'all been praying, y'all been on your hands and knees, y'all been asking for these, for God to come down and bless your child and all these stuff. Like, yo, here we are. The Calvary is here. Like, we right here. God, for real. Because I walk it. I walk it every single day. I grind hard to add value to these kids out here. We advocate for the kids in at the court system. We talking kids off of ledges. We telling kids not to take pills. There's kids that got anxiety today because of COVID-19. Like, yo, we need to continue to do this because this is what's going to add value to them and change their lives forever. And all the parents, again, you don't put this in your kid's face. You don't really want no solution. You don't really want no solution. I challenge you.
Come on, somebody.
You talking heavy.
Come on, somebody.
Yes, sir.
You don't really want the solution. It's right in your
Get the insurance bucket out. Shot.
Less with the sauce, man.
I stay with love, though. I stay with love. I stay with love.
Yo, that
No,
makes
it
me
needs to be
think.
said.
That makes me think. No. It really needed to be said, and just to hit on that very important point of our boys needing empathy over sympathy, it makes me think of something that I had wrote a while ago, and pretty much the question was, did you turn your empathy button off? Right? Because I feel like that's what's happened a lot. We've come to a point where we've already marked them off as not important. You know, I remember going into a school and during the summertime talking with the security guards, and you know, they're already saying how bad the kids are going to be for the upcoming school year that you don't even know. You know, something negative happens to these kids. One of them gets shot. One of them is caught stealing. And there's no empathy for them to try to understand what the issue was. And that's why I posed that question, like, yo, did you turn your empathy button off? Because if so, I need you to turn it back on. You know, that's super crucial right now. And another thing that I want to share, and I want y'all to expand on this, right? I have wrote this this quote, and I want y'all to kind of tell me what you think about it. What does it say to you? And it goes, as young Black boys, we were seeds, but most of us are planted in bad soil, and we were never watered with love. Like, what does that say to you? I know what it says to me.
Say it one more time.
One more time? I got you.
Yeah.
As young Black boys, we were. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
As young Black boys, we were seeds, but most of us are planted in bad soil, and we were never watered with love. And for me, it's a sense of, you want me to blossom into this beautiful flower. You want me to blossom into this tree, but I was planted in bad soil. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't watered with love. So I need your empathy. I need someone to come in and help me cultivate that so I can grow and become better. So tell me how that sits with y'all. What do y'all get from that?
The first thing that came to my mind was Tupac. He said one time, America, I am who you need. Y'all remember that? I don't know if y'all heard that quote, but I think that has a lot to do with environment and the environment that we're in. You know, so, I mean, we're brought in environments that, you know, that's out of our own control. So we gotta find a way to weed through whatever it is, whether it's in our actual homes or in the neighborhood, and just trying to find a way to navigate through to blossom, because it's difficult, man, just based on circumstances. And it's important for us to come together and have these conversations to be able to water those seeds with good seeds, so that these children and other people in the community can blossom and grow into something beautiful.
Appreciate that. Definitely appreciate it.
As far as the quote, I really like the quote. But I'm not opposed to it at all. But what I say, us as a people, especially our youth, our teens, and even as it trickles down, I feel like a lot of times we use our environment as a crutch. You hear so many times young boys and kids and even teens and even guys our age saying that they can't get out. First off, I hate that word can't. Nah, you can. That door was open many times. How many times did you let the train go past before you decide you want to jump on it? You know what I mean? Especially knowing a lot of the backgrounds that y'all come from. I know y'all can relate, and when I say that, I'm not going to say that there is always a way out. somewhere deep in the grass, in that high grass, and when them dark clouds is low, there's a bit of light somewhere, but you just gotta find it and stop using the environment or that bad soil as a crutch to say that I can't grow and blossom. When you do that thing and you look around and you realize, look, I'm here. Okay, look at it. No, yeah, I'm here. This is where I'm at. This is all that I have to work with. I know y'all saw the rose that grew from concrete. You know what I'm saying? You gotta work with whatever is there and say, not I can't get out, not my dad didn't get out, not my grandpa didn't get out, not none of the guys, none of my boys in my crew made it out. You saying to yourself more, oh, I gotta find a way out. You know what I mean? And it's funny that you say that because I was just in a recent car accident. I'm metaphorically saying this, but I was recently in a car accident, and I flip over into the woods, and my car is smashed in between trees. I'm looking all around, and instead of saying, "Oh, I'm about to die in here," check, I'm about to die in here. Oh, I'm in bad soil. Oh, I'm in a smashed car. I was saying, "Oh, I need to find a way out. Let's get up out of this. Let's get up out of this. Let's look for whatever window or crack or whatever way I gotta turn my body to get out of this, but I gotta get out of this and then make it happen." Don't look at the soil as bad soil, but look at it as the soil that you was placed in, but there's some rich nutrients in there as well that I can use to get up out of here.
Wow.
Right.
Come on here.
Somebody. Come on, somebody.
Yo, man. This is crazy, man. This is so rich, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want people to understand, man, that our boys aren't monsters. You know what I'm saying? They're not. I hate the label when we label them criminals and thugs and all these different things, man. They're humans just like everybody else that just want to be loved, and that's the reality of it. And it's up to us, especially us on here as men, but all of you watching, it's up to us as a community to really love on them. Like, it takes a community. I grew up in a community where the whole block, knew who I was. And we have to get to that. We have to get back to that where we're all chipping in. It's too often we walk right past the next black boy on the street because he got his hoodie on, because he look a certain way. Like, nobody's even trying to check them at all. You see the young man sagging his pants or doing some shit, and you just walk, man, ain't my problem. It is your problem. It's all of our problem. It's your problem because you just seen it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to step up and be bold and brave on our part and realize the influence that we have. Because the reality is, most of them will want somebody to come stop them and show that they actually care. Because that's what that is. That's real love. If I'm going to stop, what I'm doing, be interrupted on what I'm doing to come check on you and to really just pour into you. Because if I didn't really care about you, like most people don't, I just keep going by. You know what I'm saying? I'll just keep going by. So you have to step up, and it's going to take a village, right? It's going to take a village. I remember sharing a quote last year at a walk, the walk in Atlantic City, when I believe it was a young lady had got killed or something, or a young girl, I'm sorry. But there was a lot of shootings during that time. And I remember sharing a quote about, the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down and feel its warmth. And it's like, embrace also means checking them when we need to check them, not just letting them get away with everything. Showing that's real love. That's unconditional love. When I'm going to love on you either way, when I feel like you're doing wrong or I feel like you're doing something great where I want to give you praise, that's unconditional love. You know what I'm saying? And I really had to share that because I was thinking while AJ was talking, I'm like, man, that has to be said, because too many times I've noticed, and I've done this in the past. I was guilty of this a few years ago, and I realized I was falling into what everybody else was doing. I'm just walking past, like, nah, it ain't really my problem. Like, they tripping. It's like, bro, love on them. They need somebody to love on them, because the reason they're out there is because nobody is caring on them. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is showing them affection. Nobody's showing them love. Nobody cares what they're doing. So they're going to do anything to get attention. that's why they act out. You know what I'm saying? It's just wild, man. And we have to step up in all facets, man. And I'm just blessed and honored to know so many brothers like this that are stepping up, man, stepping up to the plate. So we got about 10 minutes left. So we are going to close out soon, but do y'all have anything else that y'all feel as though y'all want to get off your heart? Anything y'all want to share? Anything of inspiration for these young black boys, for the parents? If you're a parent,
I mean, I could piggyback.
boys or girls. Go ahead, brother.
No, I was just thinking about what you said in regards to love. I think it stems with a belief. And I don't think a lot of men believe that love is a weapon. And I think a lot of young black boys perceive love as something in the form of eroticism, you know? So it's just a conflict between the two. Love is a weapon, but when you try to initiate that love with a young man, you know, he's not even seasoned and able to receive your love. And that's why I like what the gentleman said. I think his name was Mike Fisher or Mike Foster or something like that, where he was stating that when he's getting cursed out and pointed at and treated unworthy, you know, he come back the next day still with love. And we just have to be consistent in that. Because when I think about my own life in regards to receiving love, I mean, I love my mom, but she did the best she could. And my dad, he died when I was 12, but he wasn't in my life like that because he was a cocaine addict. So the point I'm trying to say is that I am the result of my parents' ignorance. But even through that, I'm here. But yet love came and got me. You see what I mean? And I believe in that saying, each one teach one. So if we can believe that love is a weapon and go ahead and plant that seed like Ty Lewis was saying, and maybe somebody else watered and God get the increase, I believe that'd be a flawless victory. But we have, until we believe that, you know, love is a weapon, I think we'll just be swinging at the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Swinging at the air. That's heavy. What about you, Ty, Reek? Y'all got anything?
I'm just agreeing with everything that everyone's been saying. I think what we need to just remain doing is approaching our young men and actually, you know, not just walking by like Nate referred to, like, you know, approach our young men, but approach lightly. Like Alan was saying, don't validate their excuses. And be willing to expose yourself as a way out of that soil, as a way out of that car crash. You know what I mean? And then be willing to go the distance and be willing to step aside if you're not the say all be all to their pain and their hurt. Be willing to put your pride aside and step aside and lead them to someone else who can carry them the rest of the way. Just as to sum it up, those are the points that I'm taking away and what I plan on to continue doing as well.
Be authentic.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate that. Definitely put your pride aside.
I'm sorry. My approach is the same as everyone else, but in essence, just be authentic and fearless when we're approaching these young men and talking to them. Because if we're fearful, we're going to do just what we were talking about earlier. We're going to go the other way. A lot of times they're scared, so they don't say nothing. So it's a matter of just being fearless and being authentic when we're caring for our young black men.
Anything for you, AJ? Any like closing remarks? Any steps of guidance? Any steps that you think we should take to begin to validate our young boys?
Yeah, this is more my message, not even necessarily to those who are reaching out to the young boys, but to the young boys themselves. It's time to throw away complacency, man. Like I live by that word, and when I say I live by it as far as knowing that it's there to try to stay away from it. Complacency is something that I think is big in our generation right now, as far as getting comfortable. It's time to start getting outside the box. It's time to start reaching beyond. It's time to start being the one different in your group and saying, okay, now that I'm here, I can pull y'all along. You know what I mean? Get out of complacency Set a goal, reach the goal, set another, and keep doing it. The goals don't ever have to stop until we in the grave. They don't ever have to stop. So I don't care if your goal is just to get up and go walk a mile tomorrow. Get up and go do it. And then maybe next week we running a mile. But get out of the complacency and the comfort zone of this is okay. I'm okay being where I am. That's my message to the young ones right now, even to us as a group, man. Keep setting it, reaching it, and going even further.
Wow, man, look, man, that's heavy. I really appreciate y'all, man. Like y'all have no idea. This is like it's like a dream come true, man. Real talk, like to have this, because growing up, this was something that I didn't have. You know what I'm saying? And when I was struggling with my mental health issues and the things that I was going through, the shift happened when I was in a locker room with other men at the gym and we were being vulnerable with each other. Tone had brought me to the gym. I met my other boy, Ty Russ, who's actually another author in this project. He just couldn't make the call tonight, but they started to pour into me, man. They didn't judge me. We started to have different conversations and my character just changed. I became much stronger. I became more confident. I realized the strength in being vulnerable and being open. You know, I never knew that coming up, and it was powerful to have that. So now I want to be unapologetic about being this way. Like I want to be unapologetic about being the guy that's vulnerable, that's open, that is expressing his heart, that is saying I love you to other men in the way where I'm trying to empower them instead of trying to be like something else that I might see on social media or the rap videos or whatever it is. I want to be unapologetic about being myself and being comfortable in that. And this right here, this community, this movement, because this is starting as a book. Just to let everybody know that there is a book coming out soon with all of us on here. It's called I Love You, and it's love letters from Black men to Black boys to help build their self-esteem. That's how it's starting. But this is a movement. Like this is a whole paradigm shift right here. And God placed this on me so we can create this movement, so I can bring men together, so we can start to heal. Because once we heal, our community starts to heal.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Once we heal, once we grow, we can grow our communities because we're the leaders. So this is super important to me. This is so big, man. And I'm carrying this thing, and I'm just believing in God on this. And I'm so excited about it, man, because we aren't raising boys. You know what I'm saying? We aren't raising boys. We're actually building men with this foundation, with all of our backgrounds, everything we learned, every experience that we had with relationships and women and everything. We're able to bring these things together and really build these men up to change the future, which is huge, man. And again, this is a movement. Like this is going to change so many different things. You know, we're creating safe spaces for men because we don't have those. You know, you go to the barbershop, but it's like, when was the last time you felt better leaving the barbershop aside from having a nice haircut, which lasts, you know, a few days. It lasts a few days, but it's no real healing happen. You didn't really grow. You don't really feel any better. You just think you look a little bit better. And it's like, I want to create those spaces. And because we don't have it, this is huge, especially during this time of COVID-19, that we can create this space online. And then my plan is to transition it to an actual meeting space. So I'm really excited about that. And before we close out, man, I just want to show y'all that, like, y'all can't see this, but where am I? It's mad like love on, like it's ridiculous. I send it to y'all later.
Wow.
Like people on here, it's amazing, man. And people are truly blessed.
I don't know when we're going to do it again. Or another thing I think that's important for us to discuss is young men expressing themselves and them being in tune with who they are. And I think that's key because a lot of our young men, young Black men, they make a lot of irrational decisions based on them bottling all of this energy inside. So they go out and sell drugs, they go kill somebody, they cursing their kids out, whatever. So I think expression is a huge, huge part in this whole project that we're doing right now as well.
Man, you so right, bro. You're so right. And before we transition off, it makes me think, man, we need a pipeline to success. our boys need a pipeline to success because we don't have one, man. You always hear about the school to prison pipeline. And then I sat around and thought, I'm like, where's our pipeline to success? Like, who are the leaders? Who's showing us the way to go? And then I realized after praying, I'm like, oh, damn, that's us. Duh. That's us right here. That's the responsibility. It's like I'm looking for someone, but it's us. You know what I'm saying? And, man, I can't thank y'all enough for stepping up and accepting that responsibility and doing the thing.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
For real. And I'm really inspired by y'all. And before we jump off, we're going to share one more thing. We got a little surprise. Les, I'm going to let you take it away with the controls and everything. So do your thing.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, for those that know me,
yes, sir.
My talking comes with a lot of action. You know what I mean? I don't like talking if we ain't gonna act on it. So here is a call to action for those that are like, this is a great conversation. You know what I mean? Ty dropped some gems. Allen dropped some gems. Reek dropped some gems. Brother O dropped some gems. But what do we do now, right? So Reek, I appreciate you starting it off because you said we need to do something. So we are going to do something. Check this out. On May 27th. On May 27th, we actually going to have a Zoom room. All right, we're going to have virtual activities for young men. We're going to have mindset development. You're going to learn from the leaders, and we're going to talk about life during COVID-19 and how our youth can be productive during this time. Y'all can register right now. If you go to Nate's Building Muscle Life is Your Trainer, the Facebook, there'll be a link there in about 5 minutes, and you'll be able to sign up. Actually, we'll create an event page and everything. Y'all be able to sign up, sign your young man up, right? Don't listen. This is what I said before. Don't say it ain't nothing out here. Don't say there's nothing out here. You know what I mean? We out here. We are out here. You heard from brothers. You got artists on here. You got state troopers on here. You got students on here. You got teachers on here. You got fathers on here. You got black men that are very successful. They are kings in their own right, and they walk in this earth being blessings to people. And here you are having an opportunity to reach out. And this is not just it, because you saw about what, 12, 11 guys this evening, Nate?
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. So there's more of us. There's more of us. Like, I bet that's a surprise. Oh, yeah. There's more of us.
There's more.
There's more of us. That was a surprise when you heard that, like, what?
Like, what? Yes, there's more. Yeah, we out here living and doing our thing. You know what I mean? Because the reason why, for those that don't know me, my profession is in marketing and branding production. So like, the reason why I got into it is because I was tired of the narrative. I was tired of the narrative that everybody else tells about us. We not the ones telling the story. It's somebody else telling the story about us. It don't make no sense. So now I gotta. If I got anything to do with it, we're gonna make something happen. So starting May 27, 2020 at 6 p.m., we're gonna be doing a Zoom room. It's gonna be cool. The kids go into the room. We can do activities, and then you can break out into like a breakout room, and every single man that's on this call going to be able to break into individual sessions with your young man and find out exactly what's going on with them, talking with them, encouraging them, giving them some advice, and then they'll come back into the room. We'll be able to talk, and then I'm going. Should I release the next part, Nate?
Yeah, you might as well.
All right. Might as well. So this virtual summit, right, is powerful because me and Nate been talking about doing a physical conference for a long time, and we've been doing stuff in schools. We've been having little events and stuff like that. But now that we've been connected to other brothers and people that really respect what it is that we do, we actually going to have a physical summit, a conference for the young men. Right? I'm talking about hotel stay. We're going to do all, like, I ain't gonna let it
That's a
chime
bang.
let too much out. But we're gonna have that. It's gonna be this year at the end of towards the end of the year. So I'm really excited about that because again, this is something that we've been talking about for some time, and now the time is finally like it's here. It's here.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That sounds dope.
Be in the loop.
Yeah. Man. So this evening when it was man, I'm like lost for words to be honest. But yeah, that summit, man, that virtual summit is huge. Please share it with a young man anywhere you know, young men, grown men, like get them involved. So we can make this thing huge. We're taking the action steps to be real change agents, right? We're being real leaders, because leaders are people who are somewhat irritated with what was going on. They were not feeling the norm, right? The norm wasn't good enough, and they wanted to change things, and that's what we're doing. We're stepping up to make that change that we all need. We're stepping up as men, as strong men, as Black men, to make this change in our community because we see how necessary it is, and we want to create that pipeline of success. So I'm going to commence this with some closing remarks, some closing words, and just say, man, again, we're not raising boys, we're building men. Right, we're building men and we're creating a pipeline for success. This is the foundation right here. We're building a very strong foundation for them. And my goal and our goal as a collective is to really change what we normalize. What was normal is what we see now, and that's not working. Right? What was normal is the different things that are happening with our young men, the way they're being perceived in the media. Our young men going to prison for just stupid things. Them having no guidance. That's what's normal. What's normal is walking past a young man on the street and not acknowledging him and not loving him. And we're changing that, starting with conversations just like this. And we're going to be back soon. I'm going to be making an announcement soon. You can go to any of my pages at Nate Evans Jr. or just go right to my business page, which is Building Muscle, Life is Your Trainer, where I'm going to be announcing the next one. I'm going to have everybody jump back on, and we're going to tap in right before the book release. So stay tuned. Also, as I'll be announcing the release for the book, which again is I Love You. It's love letters from Black men to Black boys to help build their self-esteem. So it's letters from everybody that you've seen on this call tonight, on this video, on this live stream. And we're just pouring into these young men, man, something to really validate them, something to empower them, and something to help really build their self-esteem. So again, fellas, I appreciate y'all, and you already know how I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? I love
you too,
y'all, man. All right, man.
Love y'all.
Everybody that tuned in, thank you so much. Please share this video. Share it with a young man. Just share it, period. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is, share this. We never know who God is trying to bless, who he's trying to reach through this video, through this message. And it's extremely important to share this so we can grow our young men and grow our communities. So with that being said, fellas, I'm out, and I appreciate y'all.
All right, fellas. Appreciate y'all.
All right, fellas.
I love y'all, fellas.
Y'all have a blessed,
Y'all
have a blessed evening.
Love y'all.
Boom.